Kizamde, hop on the beat!
Welcome back to another JoJo chapter review. This time we're taking a look at chapter 33 of the JoJoLands titled Usagi, Fraud and Suspicion Part 1. Last time we reached the end of the first major arc of Part 9 with the gang completing the land transfer and stealing Howler's wealth. This month we pick up shortly after the yacht incident where we see that Yokohama, Lemshaban, and Key West have been dropped off at a hospital alongside Lulu. We then cut forward to 9 months later, starting off Act 2 of the JoJoLands. Dragona's trying to teach Jodio to drive a car while Usagi rants in the back seat about french fries from St. Gentleman's. This is actually the same restaurant that was used back in Part 4 during Yoshikage Kira's introduction. They end up hitting another car and a group of thugs come out demanding to be paid. Usagi intervenes by showing dashcam footage of the collision, which he altered with his stand to make it seem like the other driver was at fault. Next, we move on to a woman caring for her disabled daughter when she accidentally opens a malicious link on her computer. She calls the phone number that she's shown and is instructed to pay them to remove a virus. She falls for the scam and gives over her account number. We then see Usagi returning home, where he is shown sleeping by himself on a chair. Next, we see the others at Meryl May's boutique, where Paco tells him that he has a job lined up as a manager at a port warehouse. He also notes that Charming Man has gone back home to the island of Hawaii, and wonders why she gathered them there today. Meryl says that she wants to construct an underground tunnel in the hideout, but doesn't know how to do so without drawing attention to the bullet holes that were left everywhere from the fight with Ninbo. Usagi appears and demands to get his share of the money they got from Howler's land transfer. Meryl explains that the company now holds the land rights, but the land is still under the control of the US government and can't be sold until it has been cleared of suspicion for manufacturing weapons, which was a seemingly bogus story created by the Lava Rock's influence. She notes that Howler has gone into hiding where nobody can find him and that they may not be able to get the money for a few years. Usagi starts to storm out, but before he leaves, Jodio pulls up Usagi's bank records, showing the others that his family has no money despite the big payout of $300,000 from their previous jobs. Usagi reveals that his mother emptied their account and disappeared 2 days ago with his little sister who has a muscular disorder. Meryl suspects that Usagi's mother was a victim of cyber fraud, and that their money was all stolen. Paco chokes Usagi out to stop him from doing anything extreme, and the group discusses what they should do to help. Meryl shows proof that Usagi's mother signed an agreement to allow her daughter Tori to have her organs donated after death, apparently at the suggestion of whoever took the money. Jodio speaks up, saying that he doesn't just want to get Usagi's $300,000 back, he wants to take everything the culprit has and climb higher. Jodio picks up the phone and calls Rohan, who anticipates that Jodio wants to know where to find another lava rock. The chapter ends with Jodio assuring the others that Rohan is their ally. This was a fantastic chapter. We've gotten a bit of a surprise here with something that hasn't really happened before in JoJo since Phantom Blood, which is a major time skip partway through the story. Some JoJo parts could be loosely defined as being split into major segments, like before and after the group arrives in Egypt in Part 3, or before and after betraying Diavolo in Part 5. But this is the first time that the story has been explicitly written that way, with us now officially being in the JoJoLands Act 2. I do think it's quite fitting considering our main villain has sort of dropped out of existence for a bit, and whoever is behind the cyber scam here is presumably some entirely new threat. Some other notable information we've gotten this chapter is that Lemshaban and Key West are actually both alive since we see them dropped off at the hospital, which is not the case for the extremely dead Ninbo. The group has also released Lulu, so seemingly they were able to resolve the situation at the boutique without any issues. I guess the group may have just gotten into the secret room and waited for the cops to leave, or Meryl May could have gotten rid of them too, since we hear in this chapter how she has connections to corrupt cops. Charming Man has also gone back home during the time skip, although we'll certainly be seeing him again to resolve what happened to his brother and his cryptic remark to Jodio shortly after he joined. The main focus here is of course Usagi, who is finally getting some attention after having been a bit of a mystery character up to this point. One scene a lot of people are talking about is the one where he brings up the Dr. Dashcam footage, since at first glance it seems to conflict with how he says his stand works. Usagi has said that in order to create something with the Mate Kudasai, you have to ask him to do it. But Jodio and Dragona don't actually ask for it here. Now, this may have been some sort of off-screen thing, like it just happened between panels as a formality. Others have theorized that Usagi's line about following the letter of the law means he's using the general idea of the law as a command to make something, or that Usagi secretly can make anything he wants and has been concealing this fact. I'm not so sure about that though, since Usagi very easily could have asked Jodio and Dragona here, and there would be no reason for him to let it slip here if he was really trying to hide it. I think what may have actually happened here is Usagi asking the drivers if they want the footage, since as he pulls it up, he actually asks them if they want to see it. Moments later, when he brings out the other footage, he much more explicitly asks them if they want to look at it. So I think this is just a case of a bit of awkward framing of the ability, or just a truncated version to save time, rather than any new revelations about the power. There isn't much to say about what the new antagonist might be up to, but there's still a lot to consider about what else might go on in Act 2. At the beginning of this chapter, we saw a lot of the recent characters sidelined for a bit. Lam Shaban and Key West, of course, were incapacitated in their fights, but both of them are alive. It is possible that the two of them could make a comeback at some point, since they are aware of the power of the lava rock. With Howler out of the picture, I don't think we'll see them acting under him, although they were already turning on him to begin with in the last arc. I could see them returning as a sort of wild card to swoop in and take the rock after someone else does the work, sort of like Ojiro's role late in JoJoLion. On the other hand, they could be some kind of begrudgingly neutral allies, since we saw that Meryl May was willing to pay them off before things went wrong. While those two are a maybe for coming back, I think Lulu is definitely someone we'll be seeing again. Obviously, she has a strong connection to Howler, who she suspects is her real father, and her main motivation has been to seek out some kind of parental figure. So far, she seems to have been doing that by going along with Howler's orders, however distant of a connection that might be. But with Howler in hiding and seemingly not contacting her, it is also possible that Lulu tries to align herself with the protagonists at some point. That's about everything I have to talk about today. This is a really exciting time for the manga, and once again, Araki has defied my expectations and left me unsure of what might happen next. So as always, I'm excited to see where this all goes. In other JoJo news, the release of the first episode of the Steel Ball Run anime is less than a month away, which is shortly after the next chapter. A few days after that is when we'll also be getting the next issue of the JoJo magazine, which has now had a full reveal of its cover with new art from Araki of Johnny, Gyro, Joseph, and Caesar. I'll be covering all of those with videos next month, so to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. You can also join the Hum and Beat Discord to stay updated on new videos and chapter releases. Finally, I'd appreciate it if you help support the channel on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube member. Supporters get their names featured at the end of every video and can submit viewer questions for me to answer. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 up patrons and members. Thank you to Doorbell, Crayon, Rigovids, Zucato, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciano Rabaja, Rayana Meme, Christian McDonough, Pulse Rob Goliath, Jacob Smith, Big T, Gold, Red Hot Mayonnaise, Zenkai, Keenan, Perry, Saint Bobo, John Garcia, Crankenplank, Fran Studios, Shin Megami Tensei Film Reviews, Griffiono, Fiddlehead, Justice, Joao Marchins, Danilo K, Star the Gunslinger, Mel, Alavi, Kali, Javier's Milk, Billy the Corgi, Joe Jogan, and Time Lord.